Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Hills from Separation Science, and I'd like to welcome you all to our latest webinar in collaboration with Thermo Fisher Scientific. Our topic today is enhancing your refinery operations with pre-configured software. But before we begin, I'd just like to cover some administrative details. If you look below the player window, you'll see an Ask a Question button, and you can ask questions at any point during the presentation by clicking the button, typing them into the pop-up window and clicking OK. Questions will be answered at the end of the formal presentation, and any questions that we don't cover may be answered offline afterwards by the speaker. Please note that submitted questions are not seen by the other attendees, so don't be shy about asking them. You'll also notice a full screen button in the lower portion of the player window, and you can press this if you'd like to view a larger version of the presentation. This presentation will be recorded. You'll all be sent a link to the recording when it's ready. And so with that out of the way, let me introduce our presenter for today's webinar. Eugene Galperin is a Solutions Manager for the Digital Science Division at Thermo Fisher Scientific. In his current role, Eugene is responsible for the development of the Thermo Scientific SampleManager LIMS software solutions. Prior to joining Thermo Fisher Scientific in February 2019, Eugene held over 15 years of experience as a bench and analytical scientist in a diverse range of industries. Eugene received his master's degree from Rochester Institute of Technology in chemistry. And so, without further ado, I'll turn the presentation over to Eugene Galperin. Eugene?
Thank you. And once again, welcome to the Enhancing Your Refinery Operations with Pre-Configured Software webinar. Today's agenda, I'd like to start with a look at Thermo Fisher Scientific presence in the oil and gas industry, focusing on how leading oil and gas companies rely on SampleManager LIMS to run their operations. Next, I'll dive into some of the challenges the oil and gas sector has faced over the past 12 months, and how Thermo Fisher Scientific is helping guide our customers through these challenges as a trusted partner. Then I'll talk about the value of full integrated ecosystem where refinery as well as other industries are headed. I will also introduce you to our Refinery Solution and how our customers benefit from the pre-configured set of functions based on industry best practices. Thermo Fisher Scientific has a prominent and well-established presence in oil and gas industry with SampleManager LIMS software. SampleManager LIMS software helps power 4 of the top 5 and 7 of the world's 10 largest oil and gas companies. For more than 30 years, we've helped leading oil and gas companies streamline their workflows and build efficient, compliant operations. Today, we're helping drive digital transformation strategies for these companies. Whether it's instrument connectivity or cloud strategy, we're helping our customers shape their digital future. And leading companies are helping shape SampleManager LIMS software. When you select SampleManager LIMS software to run your lab, you're getting a LIMS that's built for the industry leaders. So what makes Thermo Fisher a trusted partner for companies in the oil and gas sector? Well, first is our continued investment in digital solutions. We're committed to providing our customers with the very best in technology. Our solutions are available in a variety of deployment models to fit your technology needs. We have the tools to help you connect your instruments and labs today, while we're continuing to build tools that will help you get the most from your data. Also want to mention our services team. Our services team has worked with industry leaders for more than 30 years. We have the experience to help you build out cloud strategy and benefit from AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. This experience enables our service team to draw best practices from a variety of sectors to help you find the best solution to your challenges. Let's look at some of the case studies. The one I want to talk about is management of gas liquefaction facility with Shell. So the Shell LIMS needed to be fully integrated and communicate with a number of different systems such as ERP and remittance. Without that complete integration, getting the project of size of Shell GTL to succeed was virtually impossible. So what did we do? Well, we deployed our LIMS software for over 20 sites. We integrate the multiple business systems and also connected over 500 instruments. Actually, our integration manager became the global standard for integration projects in Shell. And what's the result? Well, considerable cost reduction. We eliminated late fees and optimized the processes. We also provide for greater visibility between workflows, meaning better decision making. And finally, we optimize their data capture, thereby improving data quality and accuracy. Over 20 years ago, Shell chose Thermo Fisher Scientific LIMS SampleManager software to manage its laboratory operations and data. And actually, like most LIMS systems in late 1990s, Shell customized nearly every aspect of the software to meet its specific business needs. And years later, that legacy of customization in the LIMS requirements for each laboratory came to bite them, so to speak. Users were happy that their LIMS systems had unique workflows at their sites. However, the issue was around supportability and upgradability. Shell IT was supporting more than 20 distinct LIMS implementations. Like-for-like upgrades were increasingly difficult to complete from one version to the next. Acquiring, configuring, and maintaining hardware for each LIMS implementation was challenging. Project timelines were growing, project costs were increasing. So what we did, we helped Shell map out, build, and deploy a completely cloud-based solution to address these issues. Shell chose AWS Virtual Private Cloud for their new infrastructure. So then the Thermo Fisher team helped Shell move away from customized solution, replicating the functionality using standard software configuration. These changes helped Shell cut project delivery time from 6 weeks to just hours. They improved uptime and disaster recovery through AWS and have more scalable infrastructure at the same time. So next, let's take a look at the challenges in the oil and gas industry. Being a trusted partner for leading oil and gas companies means helping make sense of industry challenges. Of course, 2020 has been one of the most challenging years on record for oil and gas companies. A recently published study by PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, global strategy consulting business, they examined the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on already struggling sector. I'm going to read the excerpt from their findings. Oil and gas companies have faced formidable changes to their efficiency, sustainability, and profitability before COVID-19. As a result of the pandemic, prices have collapsed so severely that the urgency to tackle these issues have increased dramatically. One of the clearest and most viable responses to these systemic challenges is to accelerate digitalization strategies to help improve resilience and remain attractive to investors. In preparing its recent digital operation study of oil and gas companies, PwC found that industry leaders anticipate digital applications will deliver on average a 10% increase in revenue and 8.5% decrease in cost over the next 5 years. Industry leaders cited increased production, reduced time to project startup, and improved operation efficiency as some of the key benefits of digital technologies and applications. As you can see from the graph on the left, the pace of technology change has accelerated massively in recent years. We've been working with companies across industries to help them to adopt digital technology to support their laboratory processes and to bridge the gap between the production plant and the quality data generated by the lab for over 35 years. We've helped our customers to make the journey to where they are today, whether they're deploying in their infrastructure in the cloud or on premises. The advice we give our customers as they're going through the digital transformations, it really hasn't changed. It's the same. Evaluate the technology and determine which solutions will move your business forward. Evaluate the business challenges you're facing and determine which technologies will help you overcome that challenge. Being a trusted partner means understanding what customers need. In the oil and gas sector, that means weathering the storm while developing short, medium, and long-term strategies for transforming your business. It means supporting you as you transform your operations, realizing that smaller victories add up to bigger wins at the global level. It means building and implementing solutions that make sense to you, solutions that fit your budgetary constraints and your technical constraints. So next, I want to talk about the value of fully integrated ecosystem. And the Refinery Solution that we're going to talk in a little while is one such solution developed by Thermo Fisher Scientific. Also, please keep in mind that the Refinery Solution is built on top of SampleManager LIMS. The reality is that many organizations struggle with siloed data and disconnected teams. When we work with customers, we recommend taking a step back and analyzing your existing infrastructure. Are people, processes, or data disconnected? The first step is probably the most important, is to resolve this. By connecting people, equipment, consumables, systems, and data, you make data available when and where it's needed. Second is providing end-to-end workflows. Digital technology can help you optimize your process. And that leads to third and final step, advanced analytics. Once you connected your data and optimized your workflows, your data is accessible for advanced data analytics and AI solutions. This allows you to look at data in new and exciting ways and apply its critical business challenges. It's not about collecting more data. It's about taking advantage of the data you already collected and putting it to good use. So as discussed previously, connecting the lab is a critical step. The level of connectivity can be achieved through implementation of laboratory software such as Thermo Scientific SampleManager LIMS, SDMS, and LAS software. This solution can be used to manage an entire QA/QC operation to both drive and demonstrate data integrity. Again, to emphasize, the SampleManager LIMS software has been used for over 30 years, and it developed in conjunction with other global customers to ensure the solution addresses any new industry and regulatory requirements. Knowing that a big drain on analyst time is the amount of paperwork they have to complete. We've looked at ways to reduce documentation by automating processes and moving to real paperless environments. The laboratory execution system, LAS, is integrated directly into LIMS so that checks can be made on instrument and equipment availability, analyst training records, and other resources to ensure that processes can be calculated within compliance. SampleManager LIMS software can be connected with enterprise systems such as ERP and chromatography data system, CDS, to further automate processes and to provide more holistic view of data to drive informed decisions. I think most people are familiar with Alcoa, but what we follow is Alcoa Plus, where we add 4 additional points. These are complete, which means that no data should be lost and deleted. Consistent, meaning that validated processes pre-configured workflows. Enduring, which means future-proofing XML data or archival formats. And available, data should always be available directly from the LIMS. So now let's take a look at how SampleManager LIMS software provides complete end-to-end data management. Starting with workflow management, workflows are used to build processes in SampleManager which map to your actual lab processes. This can be done easily without the use of codes. So SOPs can be changed easily without involvement from IT. Workflows enable automation by driving decision action based on results. As we have said, the LAS in SampleManager LIMS software connects directly to the LIMS to drive process integrity and repeatability throughout all analytical processes. SOPs can be set up to direct analysts through complex procedures using video, images, and instructions. So analysts can start an execution, they can pause, revisit later, and step through using tablets so they can follow a process remotely in the lab without needing to go back to your desktop or PC. Another way to drive automation and ensure data integrity is through a bidirectional connection to CDS. Here we're looking at connectivity to Thermo Scientific Chameleon CDS software. SampleManager LIMS software can connect to any chromatography data system. Work list can be sent to the instrument without leaving the LIMS user interface, and the results sent directly back to the LIMS. Next, let's take a look at the sample management capabilities in SampleManager LIMS software. The native mobile app provides support for Apple, Android, Windows devices. There is advanced search capability, of course, QR barcode support, data review of existing LIMS results. You can assign workloads. We talked about LAS, instrument capture, and actually you get visual alerts for limit failures. Let's talk about workflow management and sample management. Now let's look about your data. All the work that's done in the lab is about creating data to make informed decisions. You need to be able to understand the science behind the numbers you produce. Within SampleManager LIMS software, there is an SDMS that enables you to see not just the final results, but the chromatography and spectroscopy real data, including the metadata. So you can determine if it's a failed sample or a failed injection and make decisions based on that knowledge in real time. As we mentioned, data integrity is essential. We need to be able to show every action that has been done in the lab. Not only do we need to be able to show each action, but we need to be able to show when it was done and who did it. The workflow journal in SampleManager LIMS software enables the user to drill down from the sample record and see all associated actions, tests assigned, completed, and any data, as well as instruments, equipment, and other resources used. The review and approval module is specifically designed to ease the QC sample review and approval process. This unique module provides authorized users with clear overview of all samples awaiting review, and leverage review by exception by flagging results that are out of specification, or any diversions from SOP standard operation procedures. Results are easily selected and reviewed, with the full process being audited in the system. Finally, let's take a look at the data visualization capabilities of SampleManager LIMS software. You need to be able to visualize your data in ways it makes it easy to understand, so you're able to make decisions on it. Dashboards can show stock levels of reagents, so you can easily see what you have available where. You can also view statistical quality control charts to see how your results are trending. SampleManager LIMS software have very sophisticated data visualization tools built into the solution. And you can also connect to third-party reporting and visualization tools, so you can use the tools you're already comfortable with or already using. It's important that you can see data in the LIMS so that you can make informed decisions. Data doesn't have much value if it's not possible to translate it into meaningful information. That's why solid data visualization capability is important. Any entity in SampleManager can be shown in a chart, graph, or table as part of dashboards. Dashboards can be created to show KPI performance to managers, or to show analysts at which stage of the process they're at, or anything else you need to quickly get a graphical view of. So we've seen the value that SampleManager LIMS software can deliver to your organization. Let's now look at how we deliver the complete solution to our customers. The solution is comprised of three elements. There is SampleManager LIMS software containing the capabilities and functions required to drive your processes and provide web and mobile access to users. Next, we provide instrument integration to get you up and running with the connections that will deliver the most value for the lab. And finally, to expedite your implementation, we provide a validation kit, including scripts, data, and trace matrix, which enables risk-based approach to validation. Looking at how we deliver the solutions, our experience has provided us with wealth of knowledge and understanding of the complexities of QA/QC LIMS implementation. Our services team have worked with organizations large and small around the world to deploy our solutions. We always take a consultative approach, working in a team with our customer throughout the project. So what can Refinery Solution do for you? Let's look at the oil value chain. Technically, there are three streams. I did combine the upstream and midstream together because many times the same company will do that. So there is exploration, field development, and transportation storage. And our Refinery Solution concentrates on downstream, which is manufacturing, refining, and petrochemicals. Refinery Solution is an implementation accelerator, helping you go live with Refinery LIMS more quickly. Our goal is to provide refinery customers with leading comprehensive informatics solution with low cost of ownership and high return on investment. With the Refinery Solution, customers get the tools necessary to help ensure and provide product quality and improve efficiency with accelerated implementation time for faster return on investment. When we talk about key benefits of the Refinery Solution, we focus on three areas. Refinery Solution customers can expand and expedited implementation. Project work is minimized by utilizing workflows that are mapped to business processes with a master data build toolkit to further accelerate system build. The Refinery Solution also simplifies lab execution. Pre-configured workflows control data entry and management and drive adherence to your SOPs. Instrument integration helps automate data collection for reduced errors. So the scope of the Refinery Solution, as mentioned previously, is downstream sector for refining petroleum crude oil into products such as diesel, kerosene, and gasoline. What we try to do is develop pre-configured system that meets most common requirements in refineries, and at the same time reduce the number of implementation days so that the solution package results in competitive and attractive offer to our customers. Let's look at the higher view or higher level of the Refinery Solution. In gray, you can see your standard functionalities. So you have your scheduled samples, which most of the sample probably going to be. You can also ad hoc submit samples. You have your test assignment, or you can have group test, barcode labeling, receipt, entry, review, sample approval. Of course, you'll generate your certificate of analysis. You can also have sample retains. To satisfy ISO 17025, we have operator training, instrument, stock, and incident management. Now in purple, you can see some of the, not all, but some of the functionalities that's very specific to refinery. I'm just going to mention a few of them. Guaranteed properties, as most of you know, some of the tests do not have to be done on daily or even weekly basis. Product rebranding. This is where you can compare your analysis to the specification of different grades, and if possible, assign the product maybe to a higher grade. And so there's an automatic way to do rebranding. We have number of reports, CARB, which is the California, there's EPA, there's also worksheets. Unit mode, which is very useful. This is where when you have a product and each product has its own frequency of pulling the samples and maybe different analyses, what you can do is you can pre-configure those pulling frequencies and analysis for many products. And what happens is once you switch the product, you can just click one button and the pull frequency and what analyses are done are completely changed with just one click. Blending, we have a calculator where you can combine different products together at whatever percentage you would like, and will estimate what will be the analysis result on that blended product. Of course, we have KPI matrix, we have enhanced research, we have SQC automated trending. I also want to point out seasonal specifications where your specifications might be different between different seasons, such as winter, fall, or summer. So you can pre-configure that. And what the system LIMS does is it looks at your calendar on your computer and will automatically change the specification depending on the time of season. And of course, we have the retest functionality. There's audit, there is electronic signature, and so on. So kind of summarize, SampleManager Refinery Solution comprised of pre-configured best industry practice functionality for refineries. There's multitude of available functionalities. I just listed some of them, but that's not everything. Of course, you have your end-to-end data tracking. You have refinery-specific functionalities such as blending and product rebranding. You have your incident management, seasonal specifications, retest functionality, and much more. But we not only looked at the functionality, we also looked at the interface, UIUX interface, and we tried to modernize it, made it more user-friendly. We standardized, make sure it's consistent, try to reduce number of clicks. And the next slide, you can see a better close-up of our dashboards. So in the dashboard, we have three different dashboards. We have one that's geared specifically for those who work in laboratory. There's a specific one for admin, and there's one for operations, so engineer probably on manufacturing line. So this is an example of someone who works in a laboratory. And what we try to do is make sure that even those who have never used SampleManager should be able to get up to date relatively quickly. You can see on the left side, you can go easily from submission down the line to receiving, to enter results, to data approval, and so on. So really by clicking each button, you go down the process line. You can also see that our dashboard is table-centric. You have tabular design on top. So we're talking about scalability here. We have 5 tables, but you can include many more. We have a search option. You can also dial up different calendar dates, and you also have primary and secondary navigations. You can see up top what's called breadcrumbs. You can see right now we're on quality assurance tab, but before that there was lab homepage. So you can use the breadcrumbs, or you can use the tabs on the left. So this is our refinery solution and SampleManager in a nutshell. The only other thing I want to add that we at Thermo Fisher Scientific offer products and solutions that enable customers to push the boundaries of innovation. Talking about we're customer focused. As you could see, we have unmatched portfolio, industry leading scale, and depth of capability and expertise. Thank you very much, and let me know if you have any questions.
Well, thank you, Eugene, for that excellent presentation. As Eugene said, we now have time for your questions received via the Ask a Question button. So if you have a question for Eugene, now would be a great time to send it in. Just as a quick reminder, to do that, click the Ask a Question button below the player window, type in your question and click OK. And please do take advantage of having Eugene on the line today. So if you have a LIMS question, please do send it in. So, Eugene, the first question we have today is, does the Refinery Solution include SampleManager LIMS software?
Thank you. It's a good question. The Refinery Solution is built on top of SampleManager LIMS. So SampleManager LIMS by itself has a lot of functionalities. So in a sense, you are future-proofing your system, because if in the future you need other functionalities beyond Refinery Solution, you already have SampleManager LIMS, and you can add that at appropriate time.
Thank you, Eugene. Our next question is, can you manage multi-vendor software in the LIMS apart from Chromeleon software for chromatography systems?
Thank you. Absolutely. You can add any chromatography system you would like, whether it's Empower or Agilent ChemStation. That's really not a problem.
That's great. Our next question is, what reports are included in the pre-configured Refinery Solution, and is customization available?
Yes, so off the bat, we include certificate of analysis. We have worksheets that you can print out as a paper copy in the lab. You also have your CARB, which is California environmental report. There is EPA report. And yes, you can customize, you can put in any report you would like. That, again, it's relatively easily configured and it's not a problem.
That's great. Thank you very much, Eugene. And I think the final question we have is there a way to check the estimated test result from blended materials in the lab?
Yes, there is another functionality that's already included in Refinery Solution that you can use. It's called pool sample. And what you can do is you can select number of samples in your LIMS system and create a composite. So what will happen is you select those samples in the system, you press the button for composite and create a completely new LIMS number and new LIMS sample. And we'll go into the queue for the lab. So lab will just get a new sample that you provide to them, and you can get the result for that composite and compare to your calculated estimated results from blending functionality.
Okay, well, once again, Eugene, thank you very much for your presentation today. If any other questions do come in, and please do send them in, the Ask a Question button is still active. I'm sure that Eugene will be happy to answer them by email afterwards. Thanks also to our scientific partners in this webinar, being Thermo Fisher Scientific, for all their technical input and support. And finally, I'd just like to remind everyone that a recording of this webinar will be available soon. You'll all be sent a link to it as soon as it's ready. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for logging in and listening. Thank you and goodbye.